Drew here at Frisco Tennis Shop. Going to continue my series on tennis strings that sound similar, look similar, but are actually a little bit different. Going to continue that series, and today we're talking about a very popular multi-filament string called Wilson NXT. You'll see it marketed as Wilson NXT Comfort. I think it used to be NXT Tour, but now it's Wilson NXT. You'll see it Comfort, and you'll also see another one out there called Wilson NXT Power, as well as a third variety called Wilson NXT Control. I already used a little bit of the string, that's why the package is open. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the differences between these three Wilson NXT tennis strings coming up. The first string I'm going to talk about is Wilson NXT Power. This is made with twice as many fibers as the standard Wilson NXT. Both are very good multi-filament strings, but the Wilson NXT Power is going to give you a little bit softer of a string bed, a little bit more power from the baseline. So if you like using those multi-filament strings that give you a lot of power, create a soft string bed, Wilson NXT Power is definitely a great way to go. I've seen many reviews, and I've talked to several people who think Wilson NXT Power is pretty close, or as close as you can get to natural gut using a nylon-based string. That's probably debatable. I know there's some other multi-filament strings that I like a lot as well. But NXT Power is a great multi-filament made with a lot of fibers that's going to be very soft on the arm. Wilson NXT Comfort, or the standard Wilson NXT, it's basically the exact same string except just not as many fibers in the multi-filament setup. So it's going to be maybe slightly more durable. Both strings are not going to be that durable, so that's why we have Wilson NXT Control, which I'll talk about in a second. But Wilson NXT Comfort, again, it's going to be a soft multi-filament, give you a lot of power from the baseline, not as much control and spin as a polyester-based string. But Wilson NXT Comfort, it's basically very similar to Wilson NXT Power, just not as many fibers in the multi-filament setup, so it might not be quite as soft and give you quite as much power. As I mentioned before, both Wilson NXT Power and Wilson NXT Comfort are very good multi-filament strings. Their one downside from my experience has been durability. If you're a hard hitter, you'll probably wear through those fairly quick. It depends on the type of game you play, of course, and the type of racket you have, whether it's a control racket setup or more power-based setup. But a Wilson NXT is a multi-filament that you can wear away pretty quick for a lot of players by certain standards. So what Wilson did is create the Wilson NXT Control. It basically takes like the standard Wilson NXT and actually adds a little bit of polyester to the material. So by adding polyester to that Wilson NXT material, it's going to give you a little bit more durability. So it's going to last you a little bit longer than the standard Wilson NXT. And like adding polyester to any string bed will do, it'll give you a little bit firmer of a racket setup, racket string bed setup, all else equal, and it'll give you a little bit more spin, a little bit more control. You won't have the same comfort and soft string bed as the standard Wilson NXT, but if you like the NXT but you feel like maybe you're wearing away the string too quick, or maybe you want a little bit firmer string bed but not too much, the Wilson NXT Control is a great way to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I string professionally, and even myself I get confused sometimes between the different Wilson NXTs. So Wilson NXT Comfort, Power, and Control, very great strings. I'll link to them all below. They may be a little bit higher on the price scale, but if you like the setup, it could be worth the extra price. This has been Drew from Frisco Tennis Shop, and I hope to talk soon.